Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Growing Orchids in Jamaica. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe so you will see just how I grow orchids in Jamaica. I have been getting a lot of requests from my subscribers asking me just how I take care of my Dendrobium orchids. And so today I will be showing you just how I pot my Dendrobium orchids and how I take care of them. So if you want to see just how I grow my Dendrobium orchids in Jamaica, just stay tuned. Now I have here for this demonstration the pot that I'll be putting the orchid in. I have the medium, and my medium is actually river stones mixed with a little bit of charcoal, and the mixture is actually washed before. So I'm gonna do two demonstrations. I'm gonna show you how I pot this bare root Dendrobium. Actually, today we will be looking at the cane Dendrobium, and perhaps I should have given you a little history before. No, the Dendrobium orchids are actually the largest group of orchids around. There are almost 2,000 different species of Dendrobium orchids. Some of these are deciduous, and what I mean, these will drop their leaves during the fall and then they bloom, and there are some that will not drop their leaves any at all. And the ones that I will be sharing with you today are actually the cane dendrobiums, and we also call them the phalaenopsis dendrobiums, and these do not drop their leaves any at all. Now what I'll be showing you is just how I pot this one, and I will also be showing you how I'm gonna repot another one and just how they do for me. So I have here my hydrogen peroxide, I have the specimen that I'm gonna be potting, and I also have the medium and the pot. And if you notice, this pot, it's actually a 6-inch pot, but the Dendrobium orchids, really and truly, they do not have a problem being over pot. So you can basically pot them in larger pots and they will still do fine. That's for the cane dendrobiums. And so I really like to plant mine in either the 5-inch or the 6-inch pots. So I'm going to show you just how I do this. Now, if you look at this, most of the roots here are actually dry or dead. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to sanitize my cutting tool, and I'm going to do that using the hydrogen peroxide. So I'm going to spray the hydrogen peroxide on my cutting tool so that I eliminate or get rid of whatever germ that might be there. I'm also going to use the hydrogen peroxide to spray the roots of this plant. And once the roots are wet, you'll actually see the difference in terms of the roots that are alive and the ones that are dead. Because when you wet the roots, if they are alive, then the color will change slightly, if you would have noticed here. But when you look at this plant, it actually has some new growth that are taking place. If you notice these roots here with the green tip, and this is an indication of really healthy roots. Now, if I plant this dendrobium with all these roots here, most of them, if not all, are actually going to die. And because of that, what I'm going to do, I am going to remove most of these roots. So I'm going to use my shear or my secateur, and I'm going to cut away most of the roots, but I'm not going to trouble the new growth. So what I'm basically doing, I'm actually cleaning the plant, getting rid of the old roots, whatever might have been there. And I use a hydrogen peroxide for more than one reasons, because what it does, it gets rid of whatever bacteria that might be there and whatever insects that might be there. So it's always a good thing to use a hydrogen peroxide. And I'm trying my best not to damage the new growth. If I leave any other roots there that are not new roots, I mainly will leave that just to assist in anchoring the plant. So if you notice here, I have cut off most of the dead roots and the unhealthy looking ones. So I'm leaving mainly the healthier looking roots here. And while I'm doing that, I am removing any moss or anything else that are not supposed to be there. Now, when you remove the old roots, what will happen? The plant will be inspired now to generate new growth. And that is why it is so important to remove most of the old roots that are there. And even though some of these roots are healthy, I have removed most of them because I want the plant to generate new roots. Just to add that Dendrobium orchids are epiphytes, and what that means, in the wild you will find them growing on other plants such as trees. However, we acclimatize them to grow into our homes because of course we like to see the blooms on them, and they adapt to growing in our homes and providing nice beautiful blooms for us. These orchids are pretty easy to grow. They are among the easiest plants to grow, and they can grow both indoor and outdoor. But if you're growing them on the inside, it is important that you grow them close to an area where they will get a little sunlight, even the morning sunlight, through the windows or through the shade curtain. I'm gonna spray again just to make sure that if anything else is up there or in there, then it will force them out. Now this could actually be split in two because I have on this plant quite a number of canes, and once you have a minimum of 3 or 4 canes, then you can actually plant that Dendrobium. However, even less than that, with this type of Dendrobium, even if there are less than 3 to 4 canes, they will actually survive because these plants are true survivors. This is the pot I'm going to be putting it in. So I'm going to set my plant in. When I'm setting the plant, I set it with the area for new growth to the center of the pot. And the section that I'm not expecting any other growth, I put that to the side of the pot. So this is it. I'm setting it there. And now I'm going to put my medium on it. And remember, this is my gravel mix or river stone mixed with charcoal, and pour it in. Now some persons will anchor the plant in the pot, meaning they will use whether a twist tie or something to hold the plant in place, because once you've planted it, you really do not want it to be shifting all over, and so therefore some persons will do that. But for me, because it has sufficient roots, I will not necessarily anchor it. So I'm putting enough medium in the pot just to actually hold it in place. And of course, I do my little shake to ensure that the medium is settled in the pot. Now, I am hoping that you're seeing what I'm doing right here, because if you notice, I did not fill the pot with the medium. I actually put medium just about half of the height of the pot. But when I'm putting the medium, I also ensure that I'm not covering the stems of the plant. I am only covering the roots. And that is important. It's important that you do not cover the stems, because if you do cover the stems, it gives a likely chance for some sort of rotting, and this is basically potting it. Now, what I've discovered, when I pot my Dendrobium in a small amount of medium, I actually notice that it prefers it. And especially in areas where you have a lot of rainfall, or if you like to water and you water your plants a lot, when you pot it in a small amount of medium, it tends to dry out pretty quickly and quite easily, and so the plant adopts very readily. I'm now gonna show you how I repot my Dendrobiums. Now this one, if you notice, the last cane here is close to the edge of the pot. What I'm going to do with this one, I'm basically just going to take it out of the pot and drop it into another pot. I'm not going to disturb the roots much. And there are two ways that we could do it, because I could also take it out, trim the roots, and repot. But in this case, because I do not want to disturb the root, I am basically just going to take it out and drop it into a pot. So here I have my pot. I'm going to use the medium that is in this one. So I've squeezed the pot together so that I can get it out nicely. And now I'm going to pull it out. If you notice again, I am placing it with the area for new growth right there, and the other section to the rear. And all I'm going to do here is just fill the pot with medium. I have not disturbed the roots because I do not want to set back this plant any at all. So this is another way in which you could actually repot the Dendrobium. Could actually remove these top roots just to also encourage the plant to send out new roots. And again, I will not be covering the stem. I'm barely just covering over the top of the root. And there it is. So I have repotted this Dendrobium, and I have shown you how I pot my bare root Dendrobium. Let me just show you some that I had planted earlier, how they're progressing. So this one, if you notice, it doesn't have in a lot of medium. It's just about halfway. This was a bare root that I planted, and this was planted just a few months ago. And look at the roots. So, and of course, you know, orchids like when the roots are just free and all over. So there, the roots are all over, and it is growing into a healthy plant. As a matter of fact, it is actually sending out a spike right here. So it is about to bloom. Let me show you another one. And this is a nice, big, healthy, hefty one. It's a king dragon. And if you look at the medium, just a small amount in the bottom, and yet look at the canes, how big they are. So I really find that they do pretty well when I plant them like this with not a lot of medium. So this is another one that was recently planted, and if you notice, the roots are forming and they're all over, and it is blooming. So once they're planted, I place them in a semi-shaded area where they will stay there, and within a few weeks you'll start seeing new growth. I water them twice per week depending on the time of year, because during the summer month or the hotter months I actually water them every other day, But during the colder times, I water them twice per week, midweek, and on the weekend. I fertilize them once per week as well, and I spray for insect and pests when necessary. They come in a variety of colors. You find them in the purple, you find them in white, you find them in pink, and even yellows. And they are very easy to grow. Once they get enough sunlight, they will bloom for you. And once you feed them weekly with a weak fertilizer, then of course too they will do very well. When I just plant them, I tend to fertilize them not immediately after planting. However, perhaps a month or so after, I will start fertilizing with a high phosphorus fertilizer, because what this does, it helps to initiate root growth. And so that is what I will feed it with once per week, perhaps about a month after planting. Now, while I use charcoal and gravel, you can use gravel alone. You don't have to put charcoal in it, and it will do just fine. Just ensure that whatever medium you put it in is very porous, and it likes that medium, because when you water, it dries out pretty quickly, and of course they don't like to be moist for too long. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And so you never miss another video, please subscribe to my channel. And as we say in Jamaica, just follow back on me. This is the Orchid Doc, and I am growing orchids in Manchester, Jamaica.